Hello everybody, welcome to History Surfer. This is Dr. A doing a art appreciation lecture today on drawing. As you can see, if you've been to my channel before, welcome back. If not, welcome. So let's begin. Drawing is the basic preliminary step for many artists, although some artists see it as an end in and of itself. They don't do anything else but draw. That is their medium. But many artists use drawing as a preliminary for a larger piece, and also many artists use drawing as a way to do notations for ideas. So let's start talking about the various material that's available. You can either have dry media or you can have liquid media. So let's start with dry media. The oldest of the media is charcoal. Charcoal was used by the prehistoric people to do images. As you can see, the aurochs, that bull-like looking thing, that's this thing right here, is a charcoal image. And so we know it's been in use for a long time. It's still being used today. And like most things that you have choices to make of, the type of material you're going to use, you have to realize the limitations of each one. So let's talk about charcoal and its limitations. Charcoal is definitely a very broad tip tool, if you will. What I mean is you're not going to get very fine, sharp lines. You're going to get things that are very smudgeable. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going to use that. In other words, you can work the material. You can use it to create these beautiful velvety surfaces. As far as the support you put it on, you have to also realize that charcoal, because of its very nature, it's very it's flaky. It comes off. You have to find a support. That's what you put your material on, the support that can absorb it. And for charcoal, it's going to have to be a much thicker paper. It's going to have grain to it, so it'll grab the material. You have to always remember these things as you're choosing things to draw with. It doesn't just pick something up and use it. I think most people, when I say drawing, they think pencil. Yep, pencil is a very favored tool. Obviously, it's very flexible, and you can put it on any kind of support, but it's not the pencil that you normally think of, those of you who aren't in the arts, that artists use. They use pencils that have different hardness. I'm going to use that word. So it's not a number 2, usually. They are pencils that are usually somewhat softer, and they don't have erasers. I'm going to put one in front of my lens here. I hope you can see that. No eraser. Eraser is a tool that you also choose. I tend to like white erasers, so I like to choose these type of white erasers for my work. Not that I draw, I'm not into drawing that much. I'm a photographer person, and so drawing isn't my forte, but I do have white erasers. I prefer them to use them for things like marking boards and stuff like that. As you can see here, these are very flexible. You can get number 4 lead, you can get number 5, and they are very soft, and so you can manipulate the material a lot better than you can with a hard pencil. So in other words, you can work it, you can use it to create areas like this in here. We see some darker things happening, and so pencil isn't just pencil. As far as, like I said, the support, it can be almost anything. If you want to get color with dry media, you can use other things, and one of them is Conte crayon. Conte crayons are waxy. They're a crayon type like thing, and they are easy to use, just like a crayon, but again, you have to think of the support. They're limited also in the hues they come in other words, the colors they come in. It's going to be earth tones like sienna, blacks, grays, whites, and even the white's not super white, but it is limiting. You're not going to get very vibrant colors. You're not like purples and reds. The support, again, you have to think of that color, that crayon, like that waxy material, and it's going to have to go on something that can absorb that. If you think of coloring books, traditionally they've always been that kind of brown paper, and so you will have to choose something that, again, has a little bit of grain to it. If you want to have more choices in colors, you can move to pastels. Pastels are chalky. And so again, you must think about the support. You're going to have to put it on something which allows the material to be grabbed. You're also going to have to think about the finish. And you also have to think about the finish in charcoal. I did not say that. You cannot just say, okay, I'm done. I'm going to take this beautiful image of these flowers and I'm going to frame it. You have to finish it. And so you get these finishing sprays that are tacky and they make the material adhere to your support. Now, if you want to do some really different things, you can try liquid media. In liquid media, which was very popular in the Eastern arts, we're talking ink traditionally. And ink here was applied with brush, and you use rice papers. Inks can be very beautiful, especially when you're doing things like washes, but it definitely requires good hand control. Here is an ink pen that you would dip into the liquid ink, and you could use that as well. The pen itself, this part here, is called the stylus, and the tip here is the nib. Those come out, those tips, and so you can get different stroke widths when you're drawing. It is a very, very precise type of material to use. Again, be very careful with the support. It has to be absorbent. And also where you place your hand is going to be critical. You cannot keep your hand flat on the surface. You have to have something to help your hand stay off the paper or whatever you're using. And it's called a maul. And it's actually like it's like a little stick with a brace in it, and it holds your arm off. Look at all the detail, though. It definitely requires attention to detail. And someone who's detail-oriented, I believe. I think this is very conducive to that if you're very precise in your work. You can add water to your inks, and you can make a wash. And these washes are translucent. I put that up there because a lot of my students are familiar with that word. It means it's somewhat see-through. So you can see the paper here. But look at that. It's a beautiful effect as far as getting different highlights, and you get a different feel for the image. Of course, people want color. We live in a world that's saturated with colors, and liquid media in color in the modern world is definitely markers. We're not talking about Sharpies or anything. We're talking about art markers. This set here, which I took from a catalog, an art catalog, was very expensive. And that was a couple years ago. It was $399.99. So yeah, nothing in art is cheap, people. Liquid markers, liquid media markers, I want to say, have a lot of versatility though. And again, you have to think about the support. You need a thicker paper. Cloth papers work well. But you can do so much with these. You can imitate traditional ink effects. You can blend these. So you can blend these, as I said, and you get these really amazing images. So I hope that helped. Everyone asked me to please complete this. I did the painting lecture, so that's the drawing lecture. I will see you all in the next video, or at least you'll hear me, I should say, in the next video. Peace out, everyone. Have a great day.